welcome. Access Sportsnet Lakers, driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. Chris McGee, James Worthy, Derek Fisher. We got Mike Bresnahan over here. We got Allie working from home. We got Trudell working the green room. You'll hear from all the Lakers. They get the win. They're now 3-0 on the road trip, guys. Good balance on offense, 6 guys in double figures. But really, it's the ability to defend that we've seen these last couple games, James and Fish, to defend down the stretch and close out games. 9-0 run that final 2:30 against San Antonio. Tonight, final 4:30, 13-2 run.
Yeah, I think the ability to do that, you don't want to have to depend on turning it on like that, but this team can do that. It was a sluggish start. Memphis come out shooting the lights out, and then the second quarter, the Lakers defense started to, unfold. I think Montrezl Harrell's activity on the offensive boards and Schroeder, his defense, they started to click. And I think in the second half, they showed the dominance. LeBron James, AD, they have 2 closers. And with the collective defensive effort, they did the job they needed to do and to close out the game.
2 quick thoughts. One, I was thinking earlier, when you haven't played a team in a while, typically during the season, you might not play an Eastern Conference team for a whole calendar year, depending on how the calendar goes. With this past year, with COVID and the bubble and the restart, you haven't played against some of these teams in a while. And they're having to learn some of the different personnel, new coaches, different style of play. And once they get a handle on the way the team is attacking and playing, that's when the Lakers seem to kind of figure out how to take advantage of the matchup and go ahead and close the game out. The second thought is, when you're the big brother and you're not even really worried about what little brother gets like.
And little brother's coming after you every single night.
You know he can't beat you. So sometimes you let him get a few punches in, you let him get some licks in, but at the end of the day, you big brother.
I was going to kind of ask you that because James was talking about, turning it on at the end. That can be dangerous against teams like this. But then again, it's on the road, so you're happy to get the win, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's where the depth throughout the course of the season is going to come into great value for this Lakers team. Alex Caruso out, KCP out. Having guys like Wes Matthews, THT, who's developing and blossoming, those guys being able to perform at such a high level. The addition of Dennis Schroeder in the backcourt, that gives LeBron a lot more ability to not have to do so much. But then tonight, you saw in that third quarter, he kind of starts to turn it on and take control of that game and really started to impose his will and the team's will against the Grizzlies.
James, you gave some love to Montrezl Harrell. He went for 16 and 9 off the bench. He's with Mike Trudell.
For the Lakers, and you really got things going, end up a plus 12, second only to LeBron. How important was that energy and just making sure that flow got going the right way for you guys?
It was really just coming out, playing the right way, man. My team, looks at me for energy and, to pick things up when, guys are kind of, not in the, right groove or flow of offense or defense, man. So, I just come in trying to do anything I can and basically everything I can, man, to keep the ball alive on the offense end and, just limit them to one shot on defense end. And my teammates do a great job of feeding off me.
Hey, what's your early season reflection now of being a Laker, of melding with your new teammates and just how you see things playing out on the floor so far, Montrez?
It's still a long process, man. We take it one game at a time. I take it one game at a time, man. I try not to put too much on myself, try to overthink things, man. I'm on the floor with a lot of great players, as I've been, all my career, man. So it's just trying to make the game as simple as possible for those guys, and, hopefully I'll reap the rewards off of it, man. I came in this game just working hard and just working my tail off, man. It's the same thing I'm doing now.
All right, and final thing for you. We know this season is so unique, so just like you saw the Spurs twice in a row, now you get the Grizzlies twice in a row. What's the key in a regular season matchup to see a team 2 times in a row? What do you guys have to do next time?
Honestly, the same thing we did tonight, man, but a little bit harder, man. These guys came out and jumped on us early in the beginning, man, and we had to fight to come back. But we really just got to come out and be ready to play as soon as the ball is thrown up, man. I think if we do that and, carry out our defensive principles, what we want to do and take them out of, I think we'll be good. But we really just got to come out and be ready to play as soon as the ball is thrown up. I think that was the only thing that was really missing to start off tonight.
All right, sounds good, man. Well, look, you get a chance to actually unpack your suitcase, so we'll let you go back to the room, man. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, new Laker Montrezl Harrell. Brez has joined us. Listen, the bench was great tonight. 40 points, really productive, impactful minutes from Harrell, from Wes Matthews, from THT. Markieff Morris played as well. Brez, I'll start with you. Montrezl Harrell really doing a lot on those offensive boards, getting those extra possessions that are huge for the Lakers.
Yeah, some people were worried, Laker fans, that, hey, you lose Rondo off the bench, you lose Dwight Howard off the bench, how are the reserves going to be? Well, I think they're better. I mean, like you said, Montrezl Harrell, just a nose for the basketball tonight, really strong in that rebounding department. The thing for him was the scoring. Hasn't been there the last couple games, only 4 points in his last game. Not the case tonight. I feel like he was really active from the start right away. And I think the Lakers are starting to look for him a little bit more. James, you and I have talked about this a little bit, that, hey, this guy's gonna roll to the basket with reckless abandon after setting a pick. So he'll be there for these easy dunks and layups. And as you can see there, he's got tenacious second effort as well. Throw in Wesley Matthews, very good shooting. And keep in mind, Kuz, not always with the starters, obviously. He'll be down with the reserves, too, shaping up to be a pretty good unit.
Yeah, I mean, Montrezl might not have the height that Dwight Howard or McGee, but he is like a little fire hydrant down there. When he gets position, he's not going to move. You're not going to move him off his defensive, spot. And he's just tough. He aggravates people. He pushes first. He acts first. He doesn't allow you to get to the position you want to get to. And I do think they ran one little play for him where they had LeBron on the post. Somebody cut through, set a pick, and he just curled in. He's really good at setting picks, rolling to the open space, or splashing into the open space. So he's a double-double guy every night if they look for him. And they don't even have to look for him, really. He gets them, just on his own. If he moves, especially when somebody like Gasol is in the game, he just moves and cuts, and he just happens to be in the right spots where you have to kind of see him and get it to him. It's always in the paint, too.
I mean, how valuable is a guy that you don't have to call a play for, but he can get you a double-double? And I want to ask you something, Fish. You're part of all those championship teams with the Lakers, and they were built around a couple of stars and great role players that had to give up something to be a part of something bigger. Montrezl Harrell, great interview right there with Trudell. I love what he said. It's a process, man. He goes, I'm out here with a lot of great players. So it's not about sixth man of the year, 19, 20 points a game when you're on this team. And we've seen it with other guys. You have to learn that. So how patient does he need to be, Fish? Because some nights he's going to score 4 points.
Yeah, no, I think that patience is a part of his game now. It's a part of who he is. He, in his interviews a couple of times this season, he's mentioned the great players that he's played with his entire career. And so he has developed a skill. It's a talent to know how to play off of other people's greatness. Many guys aren't willing to put their ego aside to accept that reality, that I'm playing with great players. Let me find out how to find success within my role on this team. He's a professional at that. And so it's just a great addition for this Lakers roster to add someone that is comfortable not trying to look for more for himself, but finding a way to be the best version of himself next to other greatness. And that's what you have to be, I think, in order to be a great Laker.
And we have to remember he's in a new system, offensively and defensively. So coverages are going to be different. Teams are going to hunt him. There's expectations that are different. So you have to be patient as well. Yeah, and Fish, I was just thinking of some of the bench guys that you played with. Fox, the guy who was there 2 nights earlier in that seat, Robert Horry. How important is it for a team with championship aspirations to have reliable people coming off the bench? Yeah, I think starters and bench players that are comfortable playing their roles, accepting who they are, understanding that those 2 dudes over there are the baddest dudes on the block. We don't have to try and compete with them. We're on the same team with them. How do we complement their greatness? And you actually end up being better yourself for accepting that reality. And I think that's what Montrezl has done so well in his career, which is why he has been a 6th Man of the Year candidate, is because he's accepting of being that type of player. And I think with this team, these type of guys, Alex Caruso, KCP, and we have to keep tipping our hat to Kyle Kuzma, because I think he's also at that point in his career, even though he's still really young, accepting the fact that I can be really great next to these guys, continue to wait my turn, and this can be fun too. Yeah, you see Wesley Matthews right there, 14 points, 4-6 from 3, 2 steals. We'll talk about him later in the show. He was outstanding. I definitely want to get to him. But let's get to the highlights right now. Lakers in Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. LeBron James getting it going early. Marc Gasol finds him in the corner for a 3. Next Laker possession. Gasol with a high pass to LeBron. Comes down with it, lays it in. 108-94, LeBron James. Close to a triple-double, 22, 13, and 8. AD, 17, 9, and 3. Montrez off the bench, 16 and 9, 5 of those offensive. Let's go back to Memphis. Marc Gasol speaking with Allie in the media.
I know you joined Mike before the game, talking about the emotions, of course, being back in a place that's so familiar and near and dear to your heart. I was just curious, once the game started, obviously the recognition from the organization to you, what that all meant as it all played out.
It meant a lot. Obviously, you're missing a huge part of all this, which is the fans and the people from Memphis that would have been there. But obviously, I'm very thankful, for what the franchise has done for me, not just now in recognition, but throughout the years that I was here, and now carry on into the next generation.
Obviously, you're a vet. You've been around this league for quite some time. Was there any kind of nervous energy for you being out there? Any kind of memories that flowed back that kind of had to put yourself in a position to settle down before the ball was tipped?
Before the ball was tipped, maybe a little bit. It's just a little awkward being on a different locker room and warming up, kind of the opposite side and all that kind of stuff. Once the ball goes up, it just, game time is completely different. I just wish I hit it one of those threes that would have made it much, much better.
From a team standpoint, one final point for me, Marc. This is now back-to-back games on the road that you guys have found ways down the stretch, especially to close out and get the W. The other night in San Antonio, I think it was a 9-0 run. And today it was 13-2 over the final 4.5 minutes. What is it about you guys as a unit that you guys are finding in terms of execution, though it's early here in the season, in terms of closing out?
I think we're learning each other. We're learning how to win as a team together, trying to help one another, be comfortable out there on both ends of the floor, communicating. It's all a process, obviously, we always say that, but it truly is a process of becoming a team. And when you have new guys, going through the mistakes and how you approach them and how you fix them on the fly. Not only how you're being helped, also how you take it as a guy that probably has made a mistake. And when it's a hustle thing and you don't have enough energy, somebody else comes to you and or you bring the energy up for somebody else. That's all positive, and I think that it's all a process. And in fact, you're always getting ready for a bigger challenge when it comes down to the playoffs.
Marc, thank you.
Bill.
Hey, Marc, good to see you. First of all, how's the eye? And then second of all, I'm wondering what it's like for you to be back in Memphis for 4 days, first time, and then presumably not be able to do any of the things that you would want to do your first time back.
Well, it's good. I mean, I got to check out my house and see how, all the smoke detectors were beeping. Had to kind of go in there and change the battery on those. But it's weird not seeing, the people that meant so much to me during those years. I can see, you can't meet them and you have to be responsible. So that's a little challenging because you don't know what other people are doing. So, just part of the business. You have to be responsible. But, I think it's a little easier. It makes it a little less emotional when you don't have that, all the people around you kind of going back so many years. I don't think it's the right timing for it now. So it's good, but I think it'll be better later.
I'm all for it.
Montrez gave himself a little assist.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah,
Missed a shot.
Assist. All right, 31-19 fourth quarter. The difference is the Lakers win their third straight. Frank Vogel speaking with Mike in the media.
Hey, Frank, just given the challenges of this season, tonight you don't have KCP or Caruso. How important is it to have a bench that can come in and change the game energy-wise, which seemed to happen in this one?
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about our team is our depth and our ability to handle a couple of guys being out in particular at the same position, defensive same position anyway. Again, our chasers. But those guys played well. Wes, Talon, Trez, and Keith, really gave us a lift off the bench, and big part of the victory.
Just specifically with Montrez, Frank, what did you see from him tonight?
Energy. He just you have to honor everything he does on the offensive end, whether he's ducking in or rolling to the basket. He's really picked up his offensive rebounding. From early in the season, and obviously gives great defensive determination and fight as well with his communication. And, I thought he did a great job, not only rebounding the ball defensively, but boxing out. You know what I mean? And this is a selfless thing to give yourself up, to get your body into a bigger guy like Valanciunas, and let some of the guards, or you saw Braun with 13 defensive rebounds, just let some of the guards come back and rebound while he's doing the dirty work underneath and wiping the crashers off the glass. It doesn't show up on the box score, but really did a great job with that.
And Frank, not the first time that we've seen LeBron take over in a fourth quarter. I just wonder your perspective on the sideline when you're seeing him do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him a blow so he doesn't play the whole fourth quarter, and he keeps making big plays. It's tough to take him out. So we were able to find a spot, to get him a rest, so we don't overdo it in the fourth. But he was terrific. You know what I mean? He knew what he wanted to go to in terms of the action that he wanted to exploit in their defense, and we kept putting him in that action, and he delivered. Big shots, big plays with the pass, and obviously brought us home offensively during that that fourth quarter.
Dave? Frank, last game we were asking you about Anthony being a 6'11" guy who's shooting threes off the bounce. Today, I think it's a 6-point game. He has a high screen for LeBron. LeBron sits with a pocket pass, and he's shooting a floater. Can you just speak about the variety of his skill set, and in particular, a floater from a 6'11" guy?
Yeah, I mean, he can shoot. He can do it all. Anthony's shot making is what makes him a top 5 player in this league. And whether it's in the low post with all his footwork moves, his ability to jab and shoot over guys, his hooks around the basket, his ability to finish around the basket on rolls and offensive rebounds, and the 3-ball, and you saw tonight the floater. So, he really can do it all.
Dan?
Hey, Frank, there was a sequence, I think, where Memphis had 3 guys kind of crashing the offensive rebound. It was a loose ball, and LeBron was the guy that was fastest to it, took you guys the other way, and got you out in transition. You talked before the game. I mean, this isn't a guy you can hold back because of his competitiveness. If he's on the court, he's going to go. What have you thought of his effort levels and knowing kind of his short offseason, just seeing that competitiveness sort of just take over and kind of push him in nights like tonight?
No, I love it. I mean, we'll manage, his minutes and all that stuff in a responsible way, but when he's out on the floor, that's who he is. He's as competitive as anybody in the league. And, like I said, 13 defensive rebounds, that's hard to do when you're not a center. I mean, that's just competitive spirit, wanting to win, and, being determined. And obviously he carried a big offensive scoring load, but what he did, like you said, in those stretches defensively, we held these guys to 40 points in the second half, after 36 in the first quarter. So really did it on both ends of the floor.
Time now for Fish's Focus. What are you focused on, Fish?
Good time.
Good time. Let's do it. Get out of there, big game.
Hey, let's go to the board, man. Nice graphic. Ali was trying to play me like my arms wasn't that big. For real, but it's cool. No, starting out, we're focusing on effort or the lack thereof. Guys standing, watching, shot goes up. LeBron, West, Trez, who Frank Vogel just got through talking about, was doing a good job of boxing out. Lakers give up an offensive glass opportunity there. Here, Memphis continuing to get into the paint. 1 offensive rebound, 2 offensive rebounds. Memphis beating the Lakers to the 50-50 ball. Shot goes up, another offensive rebound, and then you give an NBA team this many chances to score, they're eventually going to find a way to put the ball in the basket. Now, as the game goes on, how many Grizzlies players are around? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 1 dog in the fight. Montrez goes up, gets the rebound, puts it back in. 2 guys helping each other out. AD scrambling. West coming out of the double team. Rotate now, closing out. Here, 50-50. Whoever wants it most. LeBron breaks through. 2 Grizzlies players, and then a 3rd Grizzly player, and then too easy. going to the basket there. So that really, you know, when you start to look at the difference in these games, when you see the Lakers standing around, kind of slow to get started, 36 points given up in the first quarter. Like Frank Vogel said, not many points given up in the second half. 40 points, I think, in the second half they gave up. That's when they got going.
Take a look over there, Fish, at the two Derek Fishers. What's the biggest difference between the two nowadays?
A lot more gray in the beard, for sure.
Mm-hmm. How the biceps, Fish?
Yeah, the biceps, they don't look like that anymore.
That's 300 pounds.
Yeah,
but the man on the left, real wise, isn't he, Big Game?
Oh, much wiser.
Yeah, much wiser.
Wise, wiser.
Yes, I like it.
I like it. Good stuff, Fish. Fish is fun.
And he can't get away from that, even though he still has to shoot the 5 threes that Frank Vogel wants him to shoot. That is a problem for opponents.
That was against Gorgie Jang, a very good defensive big man, too. And he was kind of just stumbling backwards. I mean, that was impressive.
Wesley Matthews scored 14 points in the win. He's speaking with Allie.
Obviously, you speak to that defense. I was just talking to Mark about it because it's now back-to-back games where you guys found your way to close things out on the defensive end of the floor. How would you describe where you guys are as a team right now, as that was a big part of the Laker identity last season, and it looks to be again this season?
Right. It's still a work in progress. I mean, we're not completely where we want to be and where we need to be in order to get to where we want to get to. But I mean, that's expected for the most part. I mean, it's not something that we're content with by any means. So we're realistic with the situation, but at the same time knowing that we got to get better. And everybody's working at it. We're staying diligent in the film. Obviously, guys that have been here in the system last year are helping new guys like myself. And, you know, it's kind of on-the-job training when we're out there. And so we're just trying to make the most of every situation. And we're thankful that we can come away with wins while doing it.
One final point for me, because I think we've seen it a lot this season. It's been a lot of fun to watch. But, of course, you saw the way you guys started the game, and then Memphis had that run to close out the first quarter. It was THT, it was you, it was Trez. Keith put in a positive 10 off the bench as well. Is there an identity you guys are forming in that second unit in regards to what you guys want to live up to and be responsible for this team?
I mean, our job coming off the bench is to either extend the lead or cut into the deficit. You know, it's always been my mentality on every team that I've been on. Obviously, coming off the bench is something that's new within the last this season for me. But that's always been the identity of every great team is when you go to the bench, you don't lose anything. You know, you got to provide a spark. You got to be able to do something that either, like I said, either extends the lead or cuts into it. And so we got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things, a lot of guys that can impact the game in different ways. And just going to continue to take time, continue to take games like this, road trips. Tough, you know, you got to be able to win every kind of way.
Thanks, Wes.
Brad?
What's up, Wes?
What's going on?
Hey, man, when you're playing with AD, LeBron, Mark, and Dennis, are you trying to react to what they're doing? Or are you just trying to find your favorite spot and then wait for them to find you?
I mean, well, when you're playing with anybody, really, your job is to keep the floor as balanced and spaced as much as possible. Obviously, those guys are going to have the ball in their hands way more than I am. So my job is to make sure I space the floor correctly, but then find windows, find pockets. You know, obviously they're going to draw a lot of attention, and we got to make them play honest. So, you know, if you double team or your head's turned, you know, I'm going to cut, I'm going to move. You know, I'm rarely going to be in the same spot, and that's just how basketball has to be played. You know, I don't know. I mean, last time I think the offense ran through me was my senior year. So I played off the ball a good deal in my basketball career. So it's not really anything new for me.
Dan?
Big Game. This is why we don't judge a man after a couple of games. People very excited about Wes coming over. 3-point shooter, can defend. Starts out the year 0 for 8. Well, since then, Big Game, 10 of 14. He's shooting 46% on the season. And we've seen him on this road trip. He has been huge for this Laker team, especially tonight. But it's not just the threes. It's how he plays defense, how he fits. He knows how to space the floor, like he said, Big Game. Been playing off ball since high school.
Yeah, and, you know, to recognize that, look, they haven't ran the offense through me since high school. So he knows what his role is. And, you know, here's a guy that's been in the league for a little while. He's endured some injuries and had to overcome some of those, but has made his way back into good condition, Geeter. And even before, like you said, he was 0 for 8. I still was impressed with the way he was playing the game. He was hustling. His defensive, awareness was on point. And I knew it was just a matter of time. When you talk about scores and shot makers, yeah, it's going to go away sometime, but they'll always find a way to get their shot back. What I've been impressed with is his ability to continue to play team ball, continue to hustle on the defensive end, and play the game. And so, he can shoot. I think he's a career 38% three-point shooter. So I wasn't worried about his shot coming.
Prez, I know it's really far looking ahead, but he just seems like that guy that come playoff time, there's going to be a series. He's going to have some moments. You just feel like it.
Yeah, when you lose a guy like Danny Green, you have to pick up a good wing defender, a guy who can hit threes, and that's what Wesley Matthews does. I mean, the Lakers, sure, they lost some stuff during the offseason, shot blocking. We've talked a lot about that. But they really have, as Fish was alluding to earlier, increased their three-point game. And Wes is one of those guys. I mean, like I said on the pregame show, when I talked to him in the Zoom the other day after he went 6 for 6 behind the arc, he just kind of shrugged. He's like, yeah, what's your question? What's the big deal? I mean, he really does believe he can hit every shot he takes.
I was in New York, and we had Wesley Matthews circled on our free agent board with the Knicks. He was going to be our guy.
Yeah.
He unfortunately sustained the Achilles injury.
Right.
And we just weren't.
He is infectious. So, them coming off the bench with that energy and that effort just translates to the rest of us. Trez was very active, not only with the scoring, but his offensive rebound and his defensive approach as well. Giving up size and giving up pounds to Valanciunas, but I thought he handled his own and did a hell of a job. And same with Wes. Wes coming in and just giving that defensive presence, that energy, and also knocking down a couple shots. That was a big time for our team.
I asked Frank what he saw from you as you kind of took the fourth quarter over. Of course, not the first time that we've seen that. He said there was a particular action that you were trying to get to that seemed like it was working well. What was your diagnosis there, and how did that play out in the fourth?
Well, we were doing a lot of jostling with Memphis tonight and just going back and forth. And 2-point lead here, or they're taking 1-point lead, or we're taking 1-point lead. So, it started the fourth. I want to try to implement myself with my scoring a little bit more, get a little bit more in attack mode and see if I can kind of open the game up. And we were able to do that.
Dan Morkey.
Hey, LeBron. You guys have won these last 2 games. Obviously, there's been good offense, but defensively, really, in a lot of different ways. What was the big key in the last 3 quarters tonight defensively? And do you like to see kind of that this group can win by outscoring teams or this way, too?
Yeah, we got to have the ability to be able to do winning all facets. Sometimes it's going to be outscoring teams. But for the majority, we want to win games by defending. When we defend, we rebound, we're able to get on a run and get in early transition and get to get fast break points. We're able to get into our early actions, give ourselves a lot of time on the offensive end. So, tonight was one of those instances after the first quarter where they had, I believe, 36 points or whatever the case may be. After that, they had 58 for the rest of the game. I think 56 or 58, but it just shows what we're capable of, and we want to continue that going forward.
Dave?
LeBron, homecoming games, for lack of a better term, are such a big part of the NBA experience. You had one of the more remarkable ones when you first went back to Cleveland. Last year, you guys had that battle in New Orleans, making a comeback in AD's return. Can you comment or remark on the experience for Marc Gasol going back to Memphis for the first time in, what is such a different season?
I just hope that, when we get our fans back, that Marc can get another one, because he deserves it. What he did for this franchise over the course of those years, it was hell coming here playing him. Playing Marc and Zebo and TA, and the rest of that group, man, throughout those years, it was going to be a grind, as they would call it, the grindhouse. So, I truly hope that they re-show that video again when they get their fans back in here, because not only what he was able to do on the floor, he just meant so much off the floor as well. The guy actually, he even went to high school here for 2 years when Powell was playing in Memphis. So, he's been a part of this community for a long time.
All right, a couple more. Bill Orm.
Hey, LeBron. Coming into this season, there was a line of thinking externally that you would ease into the season, or you would pace yourself due to the nature of the season. And like with most things, when people say this is what LeBron should do or this is what LeBron's going to do, it so far doesn't seem to be the case. But are there ways in which you have paced yourself this season or are pacing yourself right now, or do you just reject that line of thinking?
Nah, I continue to take care of my body and take care of my mind to be able to endure whatever the case may be. And obviously the short layoff, the 71 days between, us finishing and having to get back re-going, it definitely put a monkey wrench into my usual regimen of rest in my body and then getting back and going full, hard core on my training. I didn't really have that opportunity to kind of shut down my body and then go and revamp my body and get ready for the season. It just wasn't enough time. So, being able to, it's a fine line now where how much we push, how much rest, and also stay in good rhythm, because we have built, myself and our team, we built so much great rhythm in the bubble that, want to try to continue that as much as we can. So, for me, it's always about just having my mind and my body fresh. And if my mind is sharp, then I can go out and do whatever I need to do on the floor, and if it's not, then it hurts not only myself, but it hurts our team. So, that's the most important for me.
Last question, Kyle Goon.
LeBron, I guess there were a couple fans in San Antonio and then maybe more fans tonight. Does that register? What's sort of the gradient of having, I don't know, more than 1,000 fans versus having a full?
Well, I mean, it's a great feeling, to be honest, just to have anyone in the stands. It feels like it's been so long, since we had that, and it's been since March of 2020, since we, I think that last game at Staples when we played Brooklyn was the last time we had fans. So, to be able to come into an arena and just see a sprinkle or a dab of, fans here, in the lower bowl or, the mid bowl all the way to the upper bowl, seeing a few of them sitting, I guess off side of court side. It's a beautiful feeling, and I hope, we can continue to build that and continue to even get back at some point where
he brings that energy, that spark off the bench. He's able to, get to his floaters. He stays on the glass offensively for us to get us extra possessions. Great at defense, continuously learning to adapt to our system on both sides of the ball. But when you're a special talent, like he is, he's able to adapt quickly. So when he comes in, we know we're going to bring that energy, whether we're down or up. He's going to bring that spark for us to, get us back in games or increase leads.
You guys won 17 straight games in the West on the road last year. And, of course, sold out crowds, right? You got a lot of Laker fans, but also the home fans going hard against you. What has it been like these last three without that element, or at least without close to that? And how is there a different way that you guys have to kind of find some motivation and such?
We have our own motivation. Obviously, with the fans, it's a little bit different. Especially with the Lakers, they travel so well and visiting arenas that we're able to feed off their energy. But like I said, we have guys like, Trez West, even in our starting unit, we bring our own energy. Duz, QC, Costas, and Devontae, all these guys bring that energy and always talking to us to hyping us up when we're on the floor. Those guys might not play a lot, but they find ways to help us win. Especially tonight, they were able to, stay in our ear. Just tell us keep playing. A lot of shots wasn't falling for a couple guys, especially early, and they were those two guys who was able to tell us keep on bringing that energy, clapping for us and things like that, telling us we'll be all right. So, we definitely have to find our own energy, but I think we did a good job find that energy while we're on the road.
Dave?
AD, you guys used a late run to put this one away, and one of the early buckets in the run was you playing two-man game with LeBron, rolling him, hitting you with the pocket pass, and you go for the floater. I want to know if you can tell me what the origins of that shot, when you incorporate it into your game. Is that back in Chicago days before you grew to be 6'11"?
You didn't see my floater all last year?
Not that much.
I'm like
What? I probably in New Orleans. I used to do it all the time. But yeah, I mean, me and Trey just had an argument about who has the best floater as a big. You know, my floaters, I'll bring it out more for you guys now. But did you guys hear that?
Well, maybe not in a 6-point game with 3 minutes to go.
No, yes, yeah. So, I mean, Bron does a great job of getting downhill and putting pressure on the big and reading that and reading that play, reading the defender. So, you know, he either finished the layup or his, you know, I don't know if he have a good floater or not, but his little mini jump shot, and then, you know, or hit the pocket pass to me or skip it weak side for a three. So, we just try to, you know, figure out ways to exploit the defense and all their schemes, especially, you know, with their bigs playing back tonight. But, you know, I've always kind of had the floater. And it really just came from when I was my early years in the league. You know, I wasn't the strongest guy in the world. So, you know, I kind of hated just going to the paint and just, you know, when you're a rookie, second year, you don't really get many foul calls. So I just kind of developed that floater to, you know, stop from going into, you know, the lane and getting fouled.
Kyle?
Just especially after the first quarter you guys had today, what do you miss the most when KCP and Alex both can't play at the same position, and how does it scramble your defense, you know, to start games like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we did a good job tonight to start. Kind of just fell off, but, you know, KCP, you know, is one of our best defenders, and he's going to guard, you know, the best wing, especially a guy their shooter who's flying around. Like, he probably would start on Dylan Brooks for sure tonight. You know, AC, you know, also a tough guy, picking up 94 feet. He was able to also be our backup PG. And so now it's a scramble when Bron and Dennis is out there, you know, one get in foul trouble and the other one gets tired or something. Now, you know, we bring Taylor in for a PG, but, you know, Taylor more of a two guard. So we don't really have that, you know, that true PG that we usually have when Alex is around. But we adjust. But, you know, it's tough not having those guys. They're a big part of our team and our offense. And we're able to have those guys on the floor. They just bring a different dynamic for our team.
Last two, Dan?
I'll give you a minute. Hold on.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah. With the compressed off season, oh boy. With the compressed off season and kind of the nature of this season, with no fans and stuff like that, how much are you going to have to monitor? Sort of, you mentioned energy a couple of times. How much do you guys have to monitor being able to create that? And I'm curious, kind of, what are some of the things that happen on the court, like in a game like this, that kind of do inject the game with energy when it seems like it needs it?
I think for us, we kind of feed off ourselves, and a lot of times we feed off the crowd, but we got used to feeding off ourselves. You know, when we go on runs, you know, like we had, you know, tonight, you know, to start the game, you know, we usually have that crowd noise of, you know, Laker Nation, you know, cheering for us and giving us that spark. And then when they go on the run, you know, we combat that run. We, like I said, we had that noise, but now it's ourselves, you know. You know, coach put a lot of emphasis on our bench to continuously to talk. And it started in the bubble. Knowing that we weren't going to have any fans, you know, we needed our bench to kind of be that fan base for us. And we've done a good job of doing so, but it is different not having the fans there, especially when we go on runs. You know, we're down 12, and, you know, coming back on that run, you know, even though we were able to complete it and finish the game and get the win, you know, when you're in the playoffs or playing another team, you might need those fans, especially when we're at home. So we got to find ways to just continue to bring our own energy, you know, bring that noise, bring that positive energy to our group, and I think we can get a job done.
Last one, Jovan.
Hey, AD. This season you're averaging a career high in assists, and I'm curious, was that a point of emphasis for you in the shortened off season, or is that because you guys have more offensive weapons this season, or what would you attribute that to?
I'm just trying to add more to the game, to my game. I know a lot of teams try to double just to make me get a different look and not score. So the best way to beat a double team, you know, is to find an open guy, and our guys are making shots. You know, I just got to do my job and draw a double. Once I do that, find the right guy, whether it's in front of me, you know, weak side corner, the big dive down in the middle, or whatever it is. I got to make the read, and but that's how you make your team better. You know, I haven't been scoring, you know, like you guys used to, but I've been making the right plays and finding my teammates who've been doing a great job of knocking down shots, and just continuously making plays for others. And it's good that I have Mark here because I've been learning a lot from Mark as far as passing big from the top, from, you know, the elbow, from the post. I'm just trying to figure out, you know, ways to kind of steal that from him, and also Brian, you know, talking to me about that as well over the past couple of years. So just trying to get better and you know, potentially add to my game.
Thank you.
AD throwing out some props to Marc Gasol, saying he's learning from him as well, just certain things you can do, positioning, working from the elbow, stuff like that. It's good to hear.